Now from WATN, it's Local 24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
Welcome to Local 24 This Week. Hope you're having a great weekend. We're here every Sunday at 9 a.m. and 10:35 p.m. to give you the real story behind the big stories. And with the Memphis mayoral election now less than 2 weeks away, it gives us a full plate of topics today, like Tammy's tweets. The drip of past tweets posted by candidate Tammy Sawyer was painful to watch. She did issue a full apology, but it took days for her to do so. Has the campaign imploded, as some suggest? My roundtable this week has Local 24 News political analyst Otis Sanford and Reverend Ken Whalum weighing in on the status of the mayor's race. Orange Mound in trouble. Shelby County property assessor Melvin Burgess making news late in the week with word property values in one of the city's most historic neighborhoods are falling fast. He wants a moratorium on demolishing vacant and blighted properties. And finally, the push by Memphis police and firefighter unions to raise the sales tax rate in Memphis to 9.75%, the highest allowable by the state. Supporters say our first responders deserve to return to the health and pension benefits that they once enjoyed before the cuts, but critics say if voters approve this referendum on October's ballot, it could lead to financial troubles for the city down the road. Let's get into that topic first today with City Council member and County Commissioner who are urging voters to reject this proposal. Now, it's important to say before we get started that we had representatives of the police and fire unions on the show a couple of weeks ago, and today City Council Chairman Kim Conrad and Commissioner Edmund Ford Jr. are here to say why they oppose the referendum. Let me start by, first of all, thanks for coming, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us on, Richard.
The notion that the folks who support this referendum is that if anybody deserves to have a restoration of the benefits they once enjoyed, it is our first responders because of the risk they take sometimes on a daily basis to protect us, and we know how much public safety matters. What's your response to folks who have that concern?
Well, I would say there's no amount of money that you can pay somebody, first responders who are literally put their lives on the line every day for Memphians and people that are here in our city. But we can't pay an unlimited amount of money. And so we have a responsibility as policymakers and elected officials to have a compensation package that's fair, that's competitive, that does leave room for other parts of city government, and is also honest and durable, that can stand the test of time. And the reality is back in 2014 and 15,
when the cuts were made,
after the downturn, we made these hard decisions already. And the question then was, do we want to raise property taxes 30%, which would have put us in a Detroit-like death spiral, I believe, drastically cut city government, including police and fire, with mass layoffs, or reform the program in a way that wasn't quite as rich as it was, but was fair. And that's what we did. And so it's not as rich as it was, but we shored up the pension plan. People had other health care options, not other pension options. And so that's our duty, because we just can't pay unlimited amounts of money. So we do have, it's not sustainable.
No.
And
but
so,
they would counter, it is fair, because obviously the economy is doing better now, and why not let the firefighters and police benefit from that to some degree and see the benefits that they enjoyed just a short time ago? Chairman?
Well, let me say this, and I'm glad, thank you for having me here. I believe that Memphians need to look at the entire chronology on how everything transpired, everything from 2008 all the way to the present.
Well, let's make it quick.
If you look, I'll try to be quick. In 2008, there was a referendum that expanded the residency. I think one of the unintended consequences was that there was a mass exodus in 2009 where many people decided they weren't going to live in the city anymore.
In other words, the rule was changed. You didn't have to live in Memphis if you worked for Memphis.
Right. So when Councilman Conrad and I had to make these difficult decisions, those difficult decisions came to us through the comptroller and others. In 2013, when I was the chair of the city council, the comptroller said, either get your fiscal house in order or we'll do it. In 2014, that's exactly what we did. It was not a popular decision, but it was the right decision because we had a negative outlook in our bond rating. I got all types of flack back and forth, but I believe that that was the best decision, and I stand today behind that decision. In 2015, when we had new council members about to come in, you asked the question to the comptroller, what type of negative impact would this have if we went back to the original model? He specifically said, if you do that, you're either going to have to cut programs or you're going to have to raise taxes more than 1 year. So If you go back and look at what we have done over the past 6 years, if people vote for this referendum item, not only are you looking at capping the sales tax, you're looking at future tax increases as well. And let me mention this because a lot of people don't know this. You had two people that were on your show on the 25th of August. One of those people that's pushing it hard doesn't even pay Memphis property taxes. He lives in Arlington. So how can a sensible Memphian say, this person that's paying Arlington property taxes, how is that person going to tell me what I need to do in Memphis with my tax dollars?
To answer your question, too, first responders are benefiting from those decisions that we made. It's those decisions on which I believe we're building the foundation of a new Memphis, and we're experiencing a lot of growth. The answer to this is to keep going forward, to grow our economy. It's not to go backwards and dig the hole back that we were in. Police officers have gotten raises over the last 3 years between 9.975 and 11%. Firefighters, since 2016, 10% pay raise. And so if we keep growing this economy, we will continue to be able to pay our first responders more and do it, again, in a way that's sustainable. What we had was simply not sustainable. That's why we had to make the choices. The state told us we had to make those choices.
Yes. But they would argue, you know, the price we're paying for this is the attrition of firefighters and police officers.
Here are the facts on that. Attrition is down almost 20% since 2014. It's back to normal levels. We have a fully staffed fire department. We've recruited over 400 police officers in the last 3 years. We're going to create almost 200 this year alone. Attrition is back down to normal levels. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. We're recruiting police officers. Attrition is back to normal. Those are the facts.
Now, if voters send the message in this referendum that they, in fact, do want these benefits restored, and they pass this referendum, or what's being called the public safety referendum, which I'm not sure is an accurate description of what it is, but nonetheless, are you obligated as a city councilman to say, okay, we will, in fact, do what the voters said they wanted?
Well, there are two issues.
You don't have to.
No. What's for certain is your sales tax will be maxed out. There is going to be a tax increase. The language of how it's spent is aspirational. The other challenge that I think Dr. Ford can speak to is the revenue is about $50 million. To bring all the police and fire that the language talks about is about $30 million a year, okay? If you put everybody back in, which a lot of council members will want, that's a $43 million number, okay? Now, the big thing is the county can take half of the sales tax revenue. So out of that, let's call it $50 to $60 million, okay? The county can take half.
Correct.
And I would suspect that would happen.
Well, I don't think any commissioner would say we do not want $25 to $30 million, but it would have to go back out to the voters. Let's talk about that on October the 4th to see what happens, because if people vote no, which I'm asking them to do, it would be a moot point. However, to go back to your point, if we looked at things that we wanted to do and possibly lower property taxes or something like that, we could easily put a referendum on because Tennessee Code allows us to.
So we're underwater day one if the county, and as elected officials, you have to look at risk. And I think that is a real risk that the county would want half that money. And if that's the case, we're underwater between $5 and $15 million year one. And here's the thing too, sales tax revenue grows like this in a downturn, very susceptible to drops, more so than property taxes. The state has warned us on that too. So sales tax revenues like this, what are healthcare costs doing in this country like this?
Going up.
So year one, we're possibly well underwater, and over time it's going to get worse. That's why we made those tough decisions. We did it in the best interest of Memphis, and we did it in the best interest of first responders because we wanted a plan that they could truly count on, not the Ponzi scheme that Willie Harrington, who the police union is supporting again for mayor, and the unions concocted over these years. It was exposed in 2008 that was not sustainable. We did the hard work of making it so, and that's why we're here again, reminding people what we did and why this is not a good vote for anybody.
Last question, and I'm getting short on time, but you know, Reverend Whalen is here in the studio, and I imagine if he was right here right now, that he would say we can always find money for pilot programs, we can always find millions and millions of dollars for big economic projects, but when it comes to something like helping our first responders or helping our schools, we can't ever seem to find the money for that.
I would say this, $450 million a year, 2/3 of our current budget is public safety. Number two, they talk about paving and pre-K. We've already led on pre-K. We've already done it. The city, the county, the school board are investing back into education where we get the most bang for our buck. which is the best anti-crime and pro-economic development strategy we have, investing in children, families early with a two-generational anti-poverty strategy.
We didn't have to raise taxes to do any of that.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it. I'll be
us.
back with my round table. Reverend Whalen and Otis Sanford will be joining me right after this.
People, our sales now apply to only 10 frames.
A new low.
At VisionWorks, our sales are good on all of our frames.
Why are you so weird?
Get 60% off any pair of glasses, no exclusions. Really, VisionWorks. See the difference.
Today, Victory Auto has over 200 vehicles in inventory, and we will help you find the car that fits your needs and budget, no matter your credit score. Our staff will locate a car, truck, or SUV tailored to you with average monthly payments under $300. With affordable in-house financing, when the bank says no, Victory Auto says yes. Just drive your mouse to victoryauto.org, find a car, and apply for credit. It's that easy. Victory Auto, your buy here, pay here pros.
Everyone who has ever lived has lived here. All of mankind's triumphs and failures. Every moment, every hometown, all here. We start our coverage on the ground and take it to the airwaves, so you always know what's happening in your own world and beyond. We are free TV and radio. We are breaking news. We are always there. We are broadcasters.
I want my kids to have better opportunities than I had.
School boards transform communities. Speak up at yours and make your voice heard. Text SCHOOL to 225568 to find out how you can get involved.
Local 24 cares. That's why we step up for Down syndrome. Join us Sunday, October 6th from 12 to 4 at Christian Brothers University. Registration begins at 11. Bring your family, friends, enjoy food, entertainment, children's activities, and more. Lace up your shoes for a 1-mile fun walk followed by individual and team prize giveaways. To register, go to localmemphis.com and click on Local 24 Cares. Step up for Down syndrome Sunday, October 6th at Christian Brothers University.
You're watching Local 24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
Back for our roundtable segment here on Local 24 This Week. Local 24 political analyst Otis Sanford is here, as well as the Reverend Ken Whalen with the New Olivet Worship Center. Don't ask him what he's going to preach about on Sunday yet, though, because he doesn't know. As we do this on a Friday afternoon. We know Jesus will be involved. Okay. Listen, guys, let's first talk about what we just heard, the conversation we just heard about of the sales tax referendum. Where do you think this is going? And first of all, did he answer your concern about how we always seem to find money for the big projects, but not things like this?
No, he did what I thought he'd do, and it's sidestep the real issue. The fact of the matter is that we truly can always find money for the bells and whistles, that promise you heard Kim talk about. We got to build the future, got to build the economy so we can grow. Well, that's always a matter of priorities, and I think that if we lay the foundation with good education and an educated populace, we'll draw businesses and come, but that's a perennial argument that I will always be involved in.
Probably true, probably true. Otis, let's get to the city council race and mayoral race as well, obviously. First of all, a big week in the sense that there were a lot of surprises. The issue of Tammy's tweets took on a life of its own.
It really did.
It just kept growing. We kept finding more and more tweets, and the way she decided to handle it also changed as the controversy grew. Talk about, you did a commentary about this with the Daily Memphian. Talk about it.
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, the tweets, obviously they speak for themselves in terms of the offensive nature of some of them. And in the end, as they continued to come out, it wasn't just words. There was action that was offensive. I mean, she tweeted that she was responsible for outing a lesbian teacher, apparently at St. Mary's, and the teacher resigned, or basically was forced to resign. And it came across as taking credit for that with a hashtag Mean Girls. So it was just a devastating thing, especially when a lot of her constituents come from the LGBTQ community. They're a liberal young base in this community. They're very open-minded folks. And, you know, a lot of them were not happy about this. Plus, she spent too much time being defiant about it and saying that it was foolishness, and we're not, why are we talking about my tweets when we should be talking about these other things? And then last Saturday night, she finally went full-throated with an apology and saying that she was wrong and understood they were hurtful. I just think she wasted several days of not getting out in front of the story, and that put her woefully behind on the story.
Reverend Whalum, I want to get your reaction, but first we should point out you are a Tammy Sawyer supporter. What are your thoughts?
Well, the tweets themselves are indefensible, as are, I imagine, quite a bit of the things that we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
No, come
but
on.
they are, no, I'm saying they are indefensible.
Okay, all right.
I said just as I would imagine a lot of the things we've done are indefensible. But in an age of social media, you just can't do it, and you have to live with the consequences. I imagine it was like a punch in the gut for the people that Otis mentioned, the LGBTQ community, people who have been oppressed, Tammy's natural constituency. It must have felt like a punch in the gut. I just wish, and she's obviously dealing with the fallout from it, and I think it's going to hurt her quite a bit in terms of people who were maybe leaning toward her because of her intellect, because of her obvious education, because of her ability to lead. It's going to hurt her in that regard. I just wish that we were as concerned about getting news out when it comes to things like Willie and Jim not wanting to debate. They could have had a field day on this issue if they had debated this, and they should have had a field day with it. I wish that we were as concerned when it comes to things like the last election when Jim was elected. There was no media coverage the whole night. We never got a word. We had to wait until the next day to find out who won. And I'm not comparing them in terms of severity. Again, Tammy's tweets are indefensible. The people who are going to support her are going to have to support her in spite of those things and not because of. I just think it's very unfortunate.
Well, briefly, I'll just respond that I do think that the media coverage around the fact that Mayor Harrington and then Jim Strickland did not want to debate, that was adequately covered in my view. We were criticized. I was very critical about that.
What I suggested to my friend Richard was that we have a debate with 2 empty chairs and whoever showed up, which would have been Tim.
And we said that on the air.
I get your point.
We said that on the air.
I get your point.
So, I mean, it wasn't like we were giving them a pass. But this is very egregious, as you've said. It's indefensible, and it's hard to come back.
I don't disagree.
So who is helped by the developments of this past week?
I don't think there's any question that Jim Strickland is going to benefit, especially because the people who might have been persuaded to vote for Tammy are going to say, hey, wait a minute, we can't take a chance on anything new at this point. We already know what we have in Dr. Harrington. He's a known quantity. Let's stick with what we know, and that is Jim. And Jim hasn't done a bad job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. And the fact is, in much respect that I have for Dr. Harrington, he's simply not campaigning. He was a weekend campaigner. He pulls some events maybe on a Saturday, but he's not out there doing anything. He doesn't come on television, and you cannot run a campaign like that, especially since you are not in the office.
And I still think Tammy's going to get more votes than Willie.
Okay, we'll see about that. I'm not sure about that either. But I'll tell you, fellas, what struck me as just the most bizarre campaign we've ever covered, really, is that you have 2 challengers who really are very hard-pressed to go before the cameras and make their case. Getting Willie Harrington on camera is very difficult, if not impossible. When everything's imploding around her regarding the tweet controversy, no, I might do a blog about it or a Facebook Live.
Right.
Come on now. I know things are changing somewhat with social media, but the unwillingness to answer tough questions is not good if you're running for high political office.
I don't disagree with that, and I think that it is a sign of the times, not just in Memphis, but I think nationwide. I think people are settling into a sense of hopelessness about the way things are. They think everybody's against them, and they just don't want to take a chance. But taking chances is how you're going to make it in this society.
Well, I just think that Ms. Sawyer, with all due respect to her, it was a campaign that was really not quite ready for prime time in the first place. They made a lot of missteps, not doing television, not being out there on television in a city where television rules was a huge mistake on her part. And again, I mean, I think that her supporters you know, are very disappointed in her, and she has not done enough in a broader way. You can do this on social media and you can go to a meeting, but come on the air, come on television and talk about these things and get a broader audience that will perhaps get on your side.
I don't disagree with that, but even with that said, I think that if half of Tammy's natural constituency would go to the polls, she'd do a whole lot better than any pundit would think. But her natural constituency has not proven that they will go to the polls. That is a very discouraging sign to me.
The consensus was when she announced that, all right, she has a tough slog to beat the incumbent. That's always the case.
From the outset.
But it would get her name out there and position herself in good stead for a 2023 run. Do you think this controversy has hurt that? And are there some other folks out there, I throw out the name Van Turner, for example, who quietly has enjoyed how all this is transpired?
I think it definitely has hurt her for 2023. I think that the advice that she got to not even run this time and build some political capital, political credibility in the county, on the county commission, getting stuff done would have been a whole lot better for her for a 2023 run when there is no incumbent there, especially when she, you know, she was building her campaign around the fact that, you know, she was a grassroots activist that helped take down the Confederate statues. Well, actually, Walter Bailey's been talking about taking down the statues for a long time. I just think that she was probably ill-advised to run here in 2020, in 2019.
Think with social media, politicians in particular tend to really get into a bubble with the Twitterverse that they're in and everyone who's following them and who they follow, and not really have sight of the broader view.
Well, let's not forget she's still on the county commission, and people have notoriously short memories. She'll have time to sort of rebuild her image between now and then.
She will, right. But there will be some others like a Van Turner who will come around at that point.
When we come back on Local 24 this week, we want to talk about Orange Mound, some disturbing news about home values in that Memphis neighborhood with some very rich history. We'll be right back.
Let's get down to business. The business of Atlanta on Monday, Cincinnati on Tuesday, Philly on Wednesday, and Thursday, back to Cincinnati. Modernized Comfort Inns and Suites have been refreshed because when your business keeps going, our business is you. Get the lowest price guaranteed on all Choice Hotels when you book direct at choicehotels.com.
So when my sister got hit by a truck, she called 683-7000.
Thanks. At Nahant Saharovich and Trotz, we're always ready to help.
You know, I know a lot of people who've called 683-7000 for help.
Yep, 683-7000 is the way to go.
I've got your number right here.
It's Team NST to the rescue. Call 683-7000 today.
NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000.
There was a time when things were pretty bleak in Memphis. Taxes were going up, city services were being slashed, people and jobs were moving away. Fast forward to today. There are 20,000 more jobs, and businesses are moving back into the core city. Under Jim Strickland, our police force is on the rise, our city's on the move, and we've passed 4 balanced budgets without a tax increase. Let's keep Memphis moving forward. Jim Strickland, leadership matters.
Want to take your X5 to the next level? Now you can with X5 Advantage, giving you enhanced performance and protection. When devices are connected to your home's Wi-Fi, they're protected, helping keep outsiders from getting inside. Plus, you get unlimited data, so you can stream, surf, and game all you want. With confidence, you can get coverage where you need it most. That's X5 Advantage. Check out Gig Speed Internet or any of our other speed options. Learn more or get started now for as low as $20 per month for a year. Call, click, or visit a store today.
Talked about it before the break. Shelby County Assessor Melvin Burgess coming out this week with some disturbing information about the Orange Mound neighborhood. Property values down 26% over the past 10 years. 70% of the blighted property in Orange Mound is now owned by the county, and 1 in 10 lots in that neighborhood are vacant. And for those of you who may not be familiar with Orange Mound, a very, very proud community, if not the proudest in Memphis, the first American neighborhood where predominantly African Americans own their own homes.
Right.
And we all know what pride home ownership gives. So now we learn this. What do we do?
Well, 2 round, 3 down. I'm Orange Mound through and through, born and raised in Orange Mound. And the fact that the city owns so much of the property is an excellent opportunity to do some real development, not just community centers and food stamp offices, that kind of thing. Do some real development with major developers in the city. Do some retail. Do some things that would stir up investment in Orange Mound.
But
it's
folks
a
who
great
live there,
opportunity.
that's one of the concerns, is that might happen because they are afraid that means Cooper Young money. That means Chickasaw Gardens money, Memphis Country Club money will be coming in.
And we're going to have to sacrifice some of that money to build up the weakest link in our city, and Orange Mound is one of those. But our heritage in Orange Mound is such that the people there and people who are from there would come back in, partner with businesses and the government of our city, and build that community up. We got to have it.
All right, Mr. Judge, just give us your thoughts on Orange Mound.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Ken was saying here, and I applaud Melvin Burgess for bringing this to the public's attention the way he did. He didn't bring politics in it. He just brought public interest into it. I applaud him for that. I do think that there needs to be an aggressive effort to bring some development in there, not things that are just typical and stereotypical, but bring some real development in there. This is a great opportunity for this. Orange Mound is a very proud neighborhood, always has been, and that attention needs to be made to that community, which is so vital in the heart of the city.
Well, you make an interesting point. You know, I've never seen a property assessor be so vocal and get out there in something like this. And how else would we know about it?
We would not
unless he brought it to our attention.
We would not know about it if it had not been for him, and this is kind of unprecedented with property assessors. I just applaud him for doing so.
Very good. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Longhorn's Cookout isn't something you want to miss, because that'd mean missing our fire-grilled ribeye, sides that turn a meal into a feast, hanging with your closest friends. And missing all that would be, you know, sad. Come in for our limited-time Longhorn Cookout with the unforgettable 18-ounce fire-grilled outlaw ribeye, Longhorn's new mixed grill, and our famous full-rack baby back ribs with steakhouse mac and cheese. That's how steak is done. Longhorn Steakhouse. You can't fake steak.
Victory Auto, your buy here, pay here pros with over 30 years of experience to get you in a car today. Victory Auto has over 200 vehicles in inventory, and we will help you find the car that fits your needs and budget, no matter your credit score. Our staff will locate a car, truck, or SUV tailored to you with average monthly payments under $300 with affordable in-house financing. When the bank says no, Victory Auto says yes. Just drive your mouse to victoryauto.org, find a car, and apply for credit. It's that easy. Victory Auto, your buy here, pay here pros.
It's the semi-annual sale at Mattress Firm. Now you can save up to $400 on our top-rated mattresses, like the fan-favorite Sleepy's Reserve Pillow Top Queen mattress, perfect for a good night's sleep. And Friday through Sunday, get a free adjustable base with any purchase of $9.99 or more. That's up to a $699 value, yours absolutely free. So hurry in and experience it yourself today. Your budget stretches further at Mattress Firm.
Memphis. But you might not know the lighter side of our friend Otis Sanford. Thursday, October 24th is the Otis L. Sanford Roast and Toast, an evening of laughter and entertainment benefiting homeless and needy women and children. Hear stories, share memories, poke fun, and have a good time. To purchase tickets and for more information, go to herfaithministries.org. We'll see you there. All right, I gotta leave it there. Thanks, gentlemen, for being here. Thanks to you at home as well. We'll see you next Sunday for Local 24 This Week.